Stakes is our next race, due off at 35 minutes past 9. It's over 1,800 metres on the turf, a Group 2 race for fillies and mares, and it's got a purse of $200,000. Just the 6 of them chasing it, but a classy lineup. Number 1 is Pearl of Africa for Jamie Spencer and Eddie Lyon, and hopefully can continue what's been a good run of form for Ireland. 2 winners so far this evening. 2 is Certified, Macar Barcelona and Charlie Appleby, sadly the hot favourite here. 3 is L'Amour de Ma Vie, trained over in France by Pierre Brand, Maxime Guillaume in the plate. And 4 is Flotilla, Christophe Lemaire and Macar des Angles. 5, Moment in Time, Jim Crowley and David Simcock. The only 5-year-old in the race, along with L'Amour de Ma Vie, and Banoffee completes the lineup under Richard Hughes for Hughie Morrison. This filly by Hurricane Run. And there's our first look at Certified. She's unbeaten. She's won 5 from 5, and she was a very impressive winner of the Cape Verde last time, a Group 2 contest of which she carries a penalty for that victory, 1.5 kilos, £3. She returned from 489 days off when she won in that race here at Meydan. She didn't win by far, only 3/4 of a length, but she won with plenty in hand, and she is the one they've all got to catch. She looks in impeccable shape, doesn't she, as she makes her way around the parade ring.
The horse we're going to have a look at is probably one of the chief opponents to Certify. Her name is L'Amour de Ma Vie. You can just see her over there, the grey filly, quite a big filly actually. She certainly looks really good. Just following around her rival, absolutely huge, isn't she? Now I get close to her. I thought she ran really well last time. They pulled a long way clear of the rest, and she really stuck to her guns nicely. And okay, we know Certify was much better than her that time, but it was still a really game effort. And Pierre Brandt's got 2 horses here, and they both run really well. The other one's Das Starham, who goes a little bit later on. This horse was won over further, and she is obviously therefore proven over this trip, so there's a small danger that she could just outstay Certified. I don't really think that's what will happen, but she certainly shouldn't be totally dismissed as a challenger to the favourite.
Yeah, she's a nice filly, isn't she? This is Flotilla, who is probably the biggest danger to Certify, certainly on her Group 1 victory. She's a winner of the Poulet de Police. She also won the Breeders' Cup meeting. She's a very, very high-class filly. She may have needed that run in the Cape Verde last time. She was just on her toes a little bit. I don't think that's any sort of problem at all. If she can show what she has done, she is a big danger to Certify. And she's rated £2 higher, £3 higher, which would suggest that obviously she's the better horse. But as I said, she's got to bounce back from a disappointing run last time.
Moment in Time is the one who we haven't seen before, just having a last-minute adjustment, just having the head collar removed there, and she's a very good filly, this one, in Europe. She is a Group 3 winner, and she ran very, very well when we last saw her in the EP Taylor Stakes over in Canada. She's pretty versatile as to the ground, and it's interesting that they've decided to pitch her in at this late stage of the carnival. She's trained by David Simcock, who we know has already had a winner here this year. I just think she could run probably better than her odds of 10 to 1 suggest she will.
She'll be suited by a fast pace, won't she? This trip much on the short side for her, and I think Connections have got Australia as a plan a little bit later on down the line for her, and I think David Simcock pretty realistic about her chances of beating Certified. But as I said, you've got to be in it to win it, and prize money right the way down to 6th place, so all of them are going to be picking up some of that. There's Larry Coleman, his horse isn't running. Wouldn't be winning the best turnout for me anyway. Talking about the horse, of course.
So Larry looks quite smart.
Well, we may be small on numbers, Jason, but and it is going to be hard for them all to beat Certified, but there are, that 1.5 kilo penalty is got to be taken on board. I can't really see a Pearl of Africa winning, but do you think that it is going to be a case of Certified first, the rest absolutely nowhere?
She was so impressive, wasn't she? I suppose the bounce factor is always at the back of your mind, isn't it? I haven't had a year off, a good run, and then 3 weeks in between. That could be, but she was so impressive, no doubt about it. But Flotilla's just going to post behind me. She's certainly on her toes, like you said, she's going around, and you're quite right. If she produces the level of form she has shown, there should be very, very little between them. And as I said, you think the winter of September 2013, those two we were hoping would clash in a classic somewhere against one another, Flotilla and Certifier. They didn't, unfortunately. They've clashed once here already. Richard Hughes going down to post early on Ma Vie I. I'd have to say be one of the least likely winners for me. There she is, Certifier. Now, you've spoken to Charlie Appleby about her. I've spoken to Charlie Appleby about her, and I like the point he made. That run, she's suddenly remember what race is all about again. She's a bit more buzzy, isn't she, here, I think, this evening. But that was a great run from this filly last time, this mare, Ma Vie I. Really good ride there from Maxime Guillon. You wouldn't be surprised if no one else wants to go on, if he is the one to do so.
I just wonder if, I know Moment in Time is not a front runner, but over this trip, if they might just position her much closer to the pace.
Yes,
there she is.
It's definitely an option, isn't it, if she can get there. She'll be staying on, won't she, basically, you would imagine. If she's held up off the pace, they may try and be positive and get to the lead. Jamie Spencer as well, you never know, you might try to do something like that on Pearl of Africa.
I think Moment in Time, she exercises on the track at around 3:30 in the morning due to quarantine restrictions. I think she arrived with a horse that got sick and she's sort of had to do a lot of work by herself away from the other horses, so we haven't got many chances to see her. This is the first time I've seen her in the flesh. She's a beautiful looker. That a shot of Ma Vie and
does that mean she's only got 6 hours until she's back on the track?
Yeah, in theory, but hopefully she'll have a little rest tomorrow. There's Pearl of Africa, who's trained by Eddie Lynham. Jamie Spencer, of course, coming in for the ride aboard this Pearl Bloodstock trainee. But and there's Moment in Time. But Laura is in the Prading ahead of this intriguing little contest. Who have you got, Laura?
Sort of eased her up on the line, and she's showing the right sort of, unlike Flotilla, as you say, it's got very warm. She's showing the right sort of excitement before a race, isn't she? She's just slightly on her toes. Looks like she wants to get going, but isn't exerting too much energy. And she is an exciting prospect at this time. I mean, obviously, Sarja, we know what she did, having won this race last year, and she's a better filly than Sarja.
That's what I mean. This filly, yeah, she is a better filly than Certified. As we said, I know she went on and won that duty free, but she'd taken a long time to sort of really hit top gear. I know Sarja was a little bit quirky. She had to have that hood. This filly does look very uncomplicated, doesn't she? Really,
she does. And you know, it's not easy what she's done, as Charlie Appleby touched on in that interview. I mean, she missed a whole year. Fillies often don't train on anyway, you know, when they've only had sort of 6 months to go off the boil, and they've done a tremendous job with her, and we shouldn't underestimate that, really. And I hope she does win. I hope she wins and wins well, and goes on and runs in something on either on Super Saturday or on the big night. But as we've seen, a few big names already downed this evening, so it could just be one of those weird evenings of upsets. But I really hope not in the case of this horse.
But Jason hit on the fact that you have got to take in. I don't think he was worried about the kilo and a half penalty, which I'm also not too worried about. But he did say that bounce factor when horses return from a long layoff and back up. I mean, she's not back up quick, but she's back up reasonably quick. You know, she last on the 30th of January, so you know she's had 3 weeks to get over that, which is more than enough, I would say.
Yeah, I think bounce sort of happens when you run back quickly, doesn't it? Two runs quickly. Charlie Appleby was actually asked about that in an interview that he did with Geoffrey Riddle in the National, and he said that in his experience, which is vast, as we know, been training with Godolphin for a long time now, he said that it usually happens if horses have a hard race, and she didn't have a hard race. It was more of an exercise gallop, and he also said she hasn't really done much since then, as we would expect. He hasn't really done any serious work at home. So he wasn't concerned about that, and if he's not concerned, I don't think the rest of us need to be, really.
And he also said that she was only 80% fit when she won that Cape Verde as well, so she's going to be even better fitness-wise, which should equate for that extra penalty she's got to carry here. Not long until they're off for this race. Said the official race time is 9:35. We're just a few minutes off that now. There's Flotilla. When, as I said, on her best form, Laura, she is better than Certified, isn't she? But she's just not shown it in the last few starts, has she? She's got to bounce back from, what was it, just a bad run last time. I think it was the first run since, September when she last ran behind Maxus in that Newland. But she didn't sort of travel, I didn't think, with any fluency, and she failed to pick up the ground. Probably on the quick side for her, and it's going to be a similar story again today, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was pretty quick when she won over at Santa Anita. I think, as a lot of people have talked about, that perhaps her win in the French Guinea, she took a lot out of her, and that was her, really. That was her big day. it's hard not to be put off by what she's showing us today. We think this might well be her last run. It'd be great if she could go out on a high, but she really does have to put what was a no getting away from it, a very disappointing effort behind her. And it looks a mountain to climb, doesn't it?
Certify a little bit mulish, making her way into the starting stalls. Just to remind you, of course, for this pattern class race, the saddlecloth numbers are also the same number for positions for the draws that they are racing from, which makes it much easier for racegoers to get to grips with where their horse is positioned. Not a great sign this, but often you see fillies do this. Golda Cova would have been one of the best fillies to have played up at the stalls.
Well, she was a real pain, wasn't she? She's looking more sort of mischievous to me than downright digging her toes in, but nevertheless, we might see downright digging toes in a moment.
I wonder if she'll be asked to come back for a stalls test.
Well, you've kind of got to, haven't you? You've got to make exceptions for very good horses. Actually, Godolphin horses on the whole, I think, are impeccably behaved. I'm not singling any other trainer out to say that theirs aren't or anything like that, but generally you don't see this from Godolphin horses. But she's going to have a turn and they're going to say, oh, come on, sort it out, Certify. We do not want you to be left at the start. That really would be a disaster.
They've actually got the front of the stores open, which is that's quite interesting, isn't it? You can see there, obviously, as soon as she goes in now, they'll stand her and get them shut as quick as they can.
I know that Shane Ryan isn't a massive fan of using the blindfold, but it looks like they might have to resort to that with this filly, because she still looks to me as if she's messing them around, but still she's not looking any closer to going forward, is she, and having a kick out, which you never want to see. Dangerous job these guys do. Sometimes they almost look like they're going to pick them up and carry them, don't they, and get them in that way. Now she is looking fairly determined, isn't she? Toes well and truly dug in.
I'd say the hood is going to be on. In fact, we've just gone for it now. You can see there, just picked it up there. I think that's Martin Pearson. Yeah, Martin Pearson, the stores handler, applying the hood. And I should imagine a spin round and then she'll walk straight in.
She hasn't done this before, I don't think, has she?
No,
I don't recall her doing it before.
She'd forgotten what racing was about the last time we saw her.
Quite
She knows what it's about today.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a great sign. I'm not concerned at this stage, in all fairness, but it's not what you really want to see, is it? You just want to sort of see her going happily. She's obviously just thinking about it a little bit, but there we are. She's in now. She's nice and settled.
Big sigh of relief from the crowd there.
And a good round of applause from the crowd.
They know which horse they're on, don't they? Meanwhile, waiting patiently, there's been Ma Vie, who's got her ears forward and is looking a lot keener to go about her business. Look at that. That's how it's done, she says. Don't you mess around.
Okay, so moment in time goes forward into Hoorstor for the Group 2 Balanchine Stakes, a $200,000 race. There is Flotilla. Let's cross up to Terry and get the call for the feature.